Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Dave, and at the start of today's video I want to make it really clear that I have a bit of a problem, and my problem is Facebook Marketplace. The problem I have with Facebook Marketplace is that I really shouldn't be on there late on a Saturday night discovering all sorts of goodies that I think that I really want, and then realise that do I really need them? And that's where this particular item came into question. This is a 2005 club car, and the model is a Transporter. The name's down there. And this one is a bit unique where it has the extended tray back here like a utility tray. And I saw this late on a Saturday night on Facebook, and I thought, well, it's really not going to do any harm if I just go and have a look at it. So I did that first thing on the Sunday morning. And of course, 30 minutes later, it's coming home with me in the trailer. Now, if you're a regular viewer of the channel, you would have seen this cart before. There's, I think, 2 videos that I've made on firstly buying this machine and then doing the conversion where I took out the lead acid batteries and put lithium batteries in it. So those videos are on the channel. I've had it, I think, now for probably about 18 months, maybe a little bit more than that, and it's been going really well. I don't have a problem with it at all. It charges up well and runs a long time between charges. And the only problem I do have with it is I've been thinking for a long time about getting rid of this rear seat on the back and putting like a box area or something on the back bit here so I can carry material. And that was one of the projects that I was going to try and do in the next couple of months, was to get rid of the seat and put some sort of box on the back. And at the minute I'm just carrying stuff, but it's just sitting on the seat here. So I've got my leaf blower, I've got my Zola rake and some bamboo stakes from the lavender there, and it's certainly not ideal. Often that stuff falls off, and I've got a couple of old planter pots down there as well. And so that's certainly not been ideal. So I have been thinking about what's another alternative I can do rather than modify this cart. And I used to work at a place that had one of these machines, and it did catch my eye when I saw it at work. And what really attracted me was this extended tray here at the back, which means you can carry quite a lot of stuff on it. And I particularly like these. I haven't seen a lot of them around, and certainly I haven't seen a lot for sale. So I was pretty excited when this came up on Marketplace. You can see there that the name says Transporter, and I don't know if that's just unique to where we are in Australia, because I have seen these in other parts of the world and they call them Carry-All 4 or Carry-All 6, and so I don't know if there's different models of these. The only thing I have sort of seen in some of the photographs is with these Transporters is there's an open area here, and on a couple of them I've seen that there's been another seat that flips up here, and you can put a row of seats at the back and then still have an area for like a utility tray at the back. But looking at this is all solid here. It hasn't got a hinge or anything in it, and there's no seat there up underneath. So I don't know what that exactly means. So it says Transporter, so that's what we're going to go with. And in buying anything on Marketplace, then you really should make sure that it runs and drives or is as described. And the seller did say in the ad that currently this machine wasn't driving, that they had tried to charge it up and they couldn't get it to move. But they did say that they have had it previously, it's been okay, and they've used it for quite a long time. So I took that with a little bit of grain of salt. The other cart I have over here I bought in a sort of similar condition, that it wasn't really running and the batteries were pretty bad. But what it does allow you to do is negotiate down on a price. So I really did get this for quite a low price, knowing that in the back of my mind I would probably have to replace the batteries in it the same as I did in that one over there. The first thing I had a look at when I got it home was to have a quick look at the batteries to see what I could figure out of why it wasn't charging, and I did notice a few things. The first thing I picked up was on just down here is there a date stamp on the battery that says 2015. So at best guess I would probably say that these batteries are up to 8 years old, which is probably means they're past their due by date anyway. The other thing I noticed is over the other side you can see where the red terminal or the red cord is connected to the positive of the battery there. And the system in these carts, this particular cart is 48 volts, which is a bit more than that one over there. That's a 36 volt cart, and this is a 48 volt cart. So the batteries in here, each battery is 8 volts, and they're connected in series. So the 6 times 8 gives you the 48 volts. And looking at this, I could see where the positive terminal came into the battery. And then because it's a series connection, you have all these connecting straps that have to go from the negative to the positive of this battery, and then from the negative of that one to the positive of this one, the negative of that to the positive of this one. And I got up to this point here, and then I saw this cord here that had been damaged or rusted out and actually wasn't connected to the battery at all. And that's certainly going to be one of the reasons that it wasn't charging. And the other thing I picked up on is the negative side, or the ground side of the cable that goes to the drive controller here, is actually connected up to the positive terminal here, whereas it should be coming off the negative pole. And it's actually missing one of the connecting straps here anyway, and I think I've got a spare one I can use. So I think my first task will be to clean up all those terminals, fix up this connector here. I might just put a makeshift connector on there for the minute and see if I can connect it up and see if I can get any charge in it. Let's just have a quick look at the sort of front to back of the machine and talk about what's on there. And I have noticed that this green colour is still being used by Club Car in their commercial range, if you like, on their carryalls and transporters. I thought this black bar on the front here, I thought that might have just been a home add-on, but I actually think it's an original bar. It's a funny sort of thing. I think it's like a nudge bar or something, and I don't actually mind. It's got a bit of a bend in it. Might need to bend that out a little bit and make it look a bit more presentable. My plans for this are that if I do keep it, then I'm going to do a bit of work on it, and you can see there's lots of chips and scratches in this paint, and I will probably take all this apart and repaint it. What colour, I don't know. I do have an idea for a colour, but we'll wait and see. The tyres on the front are not too bad. You can see that there's a bit of tread on those. They're pretty good. The inside of it actually looks quite neat and tidy for what it is. I mean, there's nothing really in here. There's just got a small gauge on the front, and this is the standard Club Car battery indicator. I don't know what that orange one is there. There's a key over there which does nothing at the minute because there's no juice. There's one switch here which I think must be the headlights maybe, and another one over here which is a push on push off button, and I think what that one is this wire that runs up the top here up to this beacon that was on the top, and I noticed that this hasn't been connected. It's got a broken wire on there. The history of this vehicle is that it came from a chicken processing plant or something. That's what I was told, and I guess that was one of the requirements, that they needed some sort of beacon light on there. For the charging thing, it's quite interesting on this because you'll notice on the front of it here, it's got a standard, for us, a 240 volt charge connection. And if we just take the seat off, if I can do this one-handed, and this is let me just go around the other side and show you. Normally you don't have the charger within the vehicle, you have it sort of in the workshop and you plug it in, but on this particular one they've put the charger in there and mounted it down onto the bottom of the frame. which means that you just have to connect a power point into that front socket directly and it'll automatically start charging. This box here is a charge controller, and from what I read, a lot of the 48 volt motors need a charge controller, so you have the acceleration, that it just isn't off and fully on, that you have sort of a range so you can ramp up and ramp back down again, and that's what's in that area there. Behind the seat is this empty area we talked about earlier, and I don't know what's been in there. It looks like down in here somewhere that they've had some sort of brackets or something that they've bolted in there to hold something at some stage. So it's interesting that that area is open like that. I have seen some other models in the carry-all range that's all closed in. The back area there with the batteries that we talked about, and it's got a cover plate that sort of swings down on that. And on the back it's got the standard size wheels, but for some reason this one's painted black. I don't know why. And on the other side it's got a white one. So that's interesting. What's also interesting is there's no tread on the tyre whatsoever. It looks like they've been taking it to the drags on a Saturday night. There's a bit of a hole here in the fender. This is plastic. I don't know why there'd be a hole in there, but there's a big chunk taken out of that, and that's going to need to be fixed somehow with something. If I can't fix it, I did look online, and these fenders you can buy in the US for about $80, but of course here in Australia I can't find them anywhere, so I'll either have to get that fixed or maybe sort of replicate that and make another version of it out of metal. So an interesting feature, which I have no idea of why they did it, is this mount here in the middle of the tray, and it's got a tow ball mount on it, which would indicate to me that they've been towing something with it. And I don't know, it's not like you'd drive this thing on the weekend with your camper attached to it, and I don't really know, maybe they had some custom made trailer or something they used to cart it around. It's quite a substantial piece of steel there, so I would think that whatever they were towing would have been quite heavy. We'll get the tape measure on and actually do some measurements of the tray here. So lengthwise it's about 1730, 1740, something like that, and in old money that's just under 6 foot on the bed, and that's pretty impressive. And then acrossways we're looking at about 1130, so that's a bit under 4 feet across. So that's a pretty good size space to work with. They are a long vehicle. You can see the distance between the wheels here, and the wheelbase on this particular model is 2.5 metres or 10 feet wheelbase, and the end to end from the front of it to the end of the rear tray here is about 3.4 metres or just a little over 12 feet. Now, one thing I don't have are the sides to this utility back. So normally on this model there would be an aluminium side to it and an aluminium back, and it would be the same height as what this is here, and probably the same profile as this aluminium you can see here. And it's got clips here where it would slide in and then it would swing up, and then you'd lock it on these clips. And unfortunately I don't have those, and the seller didn't have them when he bought the vehicle as well. So I don't think you'd be able to buy those from anywhere unless you could get onto some sort of wrecker or dismantle it, but I think the chances are pretty rare of doing that. So my plan for this would probably be to put timber sides on it, put some nice varnish timber boards along the side and along the back, and I think that would look quite smart if I could put those on and then give it a nice sort of varnish or an Estopole timber look. So here, looking at the rear, you can see that it's got bracketry already on here, which will allow you to put some sort of tow bar system in there. So that's going to make life a little bit easier. And I was looking at the back here, and then I was looking up under here, and I thought, that's funny, that actually looks like a hinge, which means, yes, you can lift it up and it actually tilts the tray. Yes, sirree, folks, there it is. The back tilts right up like that, and I do have it supported at the minute with this bit of timber here, but it starts creating these ideas in your mind about, well, what if I could put a hydraulic ram in there? Yeah, and then I could convert it into a tipping trailer EV vehicle. That would get a few people rather envious, wouldn't it, Ian? So that's the 48 volt motor. You can see it directly amounts to the differential which drives the rear wheels. I'm hoping that the motor is okay. I'm thinking these are pretty well bulletproof, but I won't really know until I can charge the batteries up and see if it's actually going to drive anywhere. Check some of these batteries and see if they've got any voltage in them when they're not connected together. Oh yeah, 3.8 volts. Batteries were pretty dry. That was a 5 litre jug there, and that's how much I've got left in the bottom of it, so there wasn't a lot of water in the batteries at all. So this is the final one. This is the master ground back to the drive controller. Put that on. Right, I'll just double check all my connections are correct. So positive, then negative to positive, negative to positive, negative to positive. I put a new lead in for the one that was missing. I fixed the one that was broken, and I've connected up the grounding earth cable to the correct pile over there. So I think I should be right now. I've filled all the fluids up, so they're okay. We'll see if we'll plug it into the charger and see whether it takes any charge or not. Okay, so we should see something on our display when we plug it in to see if it's getting any charge current. If the batteries are really flat, and then this charger won't get it from a dead flat, but it's got 3.8 volts, something like that per battery, so hopefully that's just enough that it'll kick into this and charge up. Let's see. No. Okay. Right. Well, that was a little bit disappointing. I'd sort of hoped that the charger may have kicked into life and we'd start charging the batteries, but I think the problem is that because these batteries only have about 3.8 volts, 4 volts in them, that it's just not enough. I mean, in the system that would only give me 24 volts, and I was reading somewhere online that the onboard computer system, or the OBC, in these machines need about 35, 36 volts to actually activate and to turn the charger into the mode where it'll start charging the batteries. So I'm a long way short of that. So my next plan is just to use a conventional normal 12 volt battery charger, and what I'm going to do is connect 2 batteries together and try and get 12 volts into 2 batteries, which means that hopefully I can get 6 volts into 1 battery. Now if I can do that across the 6 batteries, I'll get my 36 volts. Hopefully the charger will turn on and we can start charging the system to see if we get 48 volts. Now the whole reason for doing all of this is just to see whether the drive motor actually works. I don't really want to spend a lot of money and buy new lithium batteries for the system if there is a problem with the drive motor. So the whole idea of just doing this is to get the cart moving, so I'm sort of happy that the drive motor is going to be okay. Well, my charging of the batteries in pairs worked to a degree, and I managed to then activate my 48 volt charger, and it does seem to have charged the batteries a little bit. I have now at least an indicator on the dash here. I measured it and it's only about 46.5 volts, so it's certainly not the full 48 volts, and the batteries seem to go flat very quickly. The orange light here in the middle, I found out, is actually a charging light that comes on when the charger is activated, and at least now when you turn the key on you can hear the solenoid start in the system. And now I can hear that click sound. I know that the system is energized and we should be able to go for a drive. So let's see how we go. And we're off. Now I have to make this pretty short because I have to admit that I've done this once before and I only seem to get about 2 minutes out of the batteries before they go flat or drop the voltage low enough that the engine doesn't drive anymore. But that's the main test, is just to make sure that the electric motor is working, and obviously it is. It seems to be okay. So we'll go for a short drive and then think about what to do. So because of the size of this particular cart, I think I'm going to nickname it Max. So I'll do a couple of ongoing videos, or make a playlist, and we'll call it Project Max. Well, I think Max is a great name for the project. I'm happy with that name. And the aim of today's video was really just to show that the cart would actually move under its own power, and we managed to achieve that. The batteries, although I did charge them, only seemed to run the cart for a couple of minutes before they went flat. So the next big thing I'm going to have to do is invest in another set of lithium iron phosphate batteries. So I will go online and see what I can find and try and buy some batteries, which will be in the next video. And I think there'll probably be a series of updates video in Project Max. There's quite a lot of things to do on it. We'll install the batteries. We'll probably do some general maintenance on the cart. I want to pull some of the parts off it, and I want to repaint the front of it. The deck part here at the back, I want to put a new floor in the back and then put timber on the sides maybe, so that would be a good thing. I think the height has to come up a little bit. I think it is a little bit too low on the standard 8-inch wheels, so we might have to look at doing something in wheels and tyres as well. So there's lots of things in the future that we'll look at with Project Max. Anyway, that just about wraps up today's video. I'm pleased that everybody watched the video today, and thank you for all your support, and I'll catch you next time.